Hi, I'm Laura Wilder, back with more of the best of my travels to Europe, this time discussing adventures, impact, and reflection. Thanks for joining me.
During my summer study abroad experience, I lived in the center of Florence, Italy, or as I prefer, Firenze. Monday through Thursday, I took a digital photography class and Italian Intermediate 1. Being in Italy allowed me to practice Italian outside of class, which I had never experienced with the language before, and I was always blown away to see the vast improvement I made from day to day and the appreciation from the locals. Learning the mechanics of photography in Europe definitely had its benefits as well. I had so much incredible material to work with, from the beauty of Capri and the elegance of Interlaken, Switzerland, to Florence Fashion Week and local passerby on the street. Naturally, I never wanted to stop taking pictures. Besides the immediate benefits I gained from classes each week, my favorite experiences were those that occurred outside of Florence on the weekends. I made sure to make the most of my short time in Europe and visited the Amalfi Coast, Interlaken, Switzerland, vineyards in Toscana, and Verona. Above all, my most memorable, mind-blowing, and out-of-this-world experience was when I went hang gliding through the Alps around Interlaken. To some, this may have seemed crazy, especially after seeing the mountain that I had to run off of. But to me, all I saw was an adventure that I had to try. On our drive up the mountain to reach our so-called runway, we were winding around narrow bends and enjoying the fresh Swiss air. Naturally, I immediately pulled out my camera, and my instructor, Peter, turned around with a twinkle in his eye and said, "Just wait until you see the view from the top." It was during our practice run when I felt myself starting to get nervous. How would I not trip and fall down the mountain? How was I going to keep up with Peter? Finally, when we were all strapped in and ready to go, Peter asks me, "Are you ready?" And I reply, I think so." Peter says, "Come on now, you need to be sure." And within seconds after I say, "Yes, I am ready," we are in the air and 1,000 feet above the ground below. After an initial wave of shock, I started to feel like an eagle, free from all restraints, simply hovering above its territory below. I wanted to stay in the air forever, learning about the different parts of Interlaken and the mountains in the Jungfrau region surrounding us. Sadly, like most adventures, the flight eventually had to come to an end. I have discovered that my hang gliding adventure was in fact very similar to my overall study abroad experience. While I was extremely nervous before my arrival in Firenze, eventually, once I was thrown into the mix of classes, traveling, and meeting new friends, I never wanted to leave. While 4 weeks of a study abroad program is not a lot of time to grow comfortable in a new place, I know that it actually benefited me because I was constantly on the search for new things to see and to learn about, and new people to meet, because I didn't want to waste a second of those precious weeks. While there were some bumps along the way, just as there were air pockets that Peter and I hit midair, I learned how to navigate them because I quickly discovered the key to living in a foreign place: language and culture self-immersion. Rather than eating at American diners or speaking English to locals, all I wanted was to practice my Italian and eat gnocchi, tiramisu, and enjoy an aperitivo while watching the sunset. While many of my flatmates were focusing on the comforts of home that they lacked, I pushed past any homesickness I had and made the most of my experience. I can proudly say, after returning to the U.S. and reflecting on my time in Firenze, that I do not regret a thing. When I talk to students who are interested in studying abroad, I encourage them to disregard their worries and their fears this one time, and to put as much into the experience as they want to get out of it. If I had decided that running off of a mountain was not for me, I never would have had the emotional and eye-opening experience of feeling like a bird.
I hope you have enjoyed hearing about the highlights of my study abroad experience in Firenze. Thanks for joining me. I'm Laura Wilder. Until next time, keep on traveling.